as we know, things haven't gone according to plan for most businesses as the coronavirus pandemic has disrupted pretty much every sector, including marketing, sales and marketing. Now, the lockdown and social distance measures that have been put in place by governments around the world have essentially nullified the impact of advertising in both small and large scales. Joining me live to discuss this for Lagos State is Mr. Tope Akande, the Assistant General Manager, Corporate Communications, Lagos State Signage and Advertising Agency. You're welcome, Mr. Akande. Good morning to you. Let's start with the role of the agency. If you can describe that for us, please.
Thank you very much, Rotus. It's nice to have you. For the role of LASAA is Lagos State Signage and Advertisement Agency. It was established in 2006 by the Lagos State House of Assembly. A law passed, but went into full operation in December. And our role is simply to regulate, control, and manage outdoor advertisement and displays in Lagos State. So in essence, what this means is that with the coming of LASAA, the function of the local government, which used to be the regulation of outdoor advertising, now resides with LASAA. So LASAA is responsible for the control, management. We issue permits, we regulate, we create standards, and ensure that everybody falls in line with the new law in town.
Fantastic. Now, with regards to the control and the regulation, who are the players in the chain with regards to who you're dealing with when we see these outdoor advertisements?
Okay, so for LASAA, the people involved in the chain are first the advertiser. That's the person who sponsors advertising messages across all forms and particularly outdoor advertising. You have the media buyer. The media buyer acts as an agent between the advertiser and the owner of the structure. So the media buyer is the middle person for that transaction. And we have also the out-of-home structure owner. That's the people we regulate within the industry, within the value chain. So this transaction happens between these three guys, and settlement is made when exposure of the brand is done. So these three guys are the key players within the value chain.
Okay, and what percentage of Lagos State revenues, if you can put it in a percentage, does what LASAA does, how much of a percentage does that contribute?
Year in, year out, I would say between 4 to 5% of internally generated revenue.
About 3 to 4%. Now, with
4 to 5%.
4 to 5%. Okay. Now, with regards to the method of the business model and the method of payments and collections, can you speak a little bit on that with how that works?
Well, like I said, part of our core function is to regulate, raise revenue, and create standard. So in doing this, in our regulation, revenue is connected to our function. And in raising revenue, we issue permits for whoever wants to put up an outdoor advertising structure within the streetscape of Lagos. And for example, Rotis wants to engage in the business of outdoor advertising. You register with Lagos State through our agency. We go through the processes of ensuring that you have the capacity to carry out the business. You're registered as a company with the Corporate Affairs Commission. You have the technical capacity and competence to carry out the business. Your experience and exposure from other places, including outside Lagos, will matter. You must be legally registered in Nigeria. So when we look at this process, we register you, and when you are qualified, we now ask you can apply for sites. You can play in diverse fields of outdoor advertising.
Okay.
It could be for you to have permanent structures on the streets. You could decide to do LED mobile trucks. You want to move your vehicle around, the ones you see in traffic that are LED types. You want to do street lamp poles, which are the types you see on 3rd Mainland, which have banners flying on the street light poles. So they are diverse. So when you apply, we look at how suitable your application is, the structure are suitable to the location you intend to put them, and we then give you an approval with which you get a permit. The permit demands that it provides the terms and conditions for you to have that structure in terms of maintenance cost, in terms of your statutory obligation and payment to the agency annually.
Fantastic. Now, you just mentioned LED trucks driving around. What method of outdoor, which method of outdoor advertising brings you the most revenue?
I will look across our product lines. I would say what we call the on-premise sign. The on-premise sign are the advertising signs you find within the premises for Rotus Nigeria Limited, for Arise TV, within your premises. Those are the mass market where the bulk of our revenue comes from.
Okay, and then as far as the different sectors of the economy, which sector would you say you get the most revenue from as far as that advertise in Lagos?
Well, in order of ranking, I'll pick breweries.
Okay.
The breweries industry are the major spenders for outdoor advertising, so to speak. Then you have the telecoms, you have the banks, then others follow. Okay.
Now, how has COVID-19, with the pandemic, how has it affected the business, your revenue collections and so on? How have you, based on what you've observed?
Well, it's had its impact, I must confess to you. Some of the revenue lines which we generate from, for example, is called experiential marketing. Experiential marketing expects that you storm the marketplace, normal open markets, where people gather a lot, where there's a concentration of human traffic. So you do an experiential market, you let the people at the market experience the product real life. So that's the product line, a revenue point for us. That will not be happening in any time soon because of social distancing, because of COVID. Also, we have feelers that the outdoor advertising structures on our streets in Lagos are currently becoming vacant. This is because advertisers are pulling their advertising contracts from the outdoor advertising structure owners. Well, we're going to confirm all this, but these are the words on the street. So there's going to be vacancy, there will be less occupancy on advertising structures, and those are revenue points for our agency as well. So COVID is affecting us negatively, but I mean, this is where we are. We will have to look at it again and see how we can restructure our revenue lines to improve on what is available to be collected.
All right, fantastic. So that's one challenge, COVID-19. I want to also ask you about digital advertising and how, if that's a disruptor for you, and how that's affected, advertising in Lagos and your revenue collection as well.
Absolutely. Digital advertising, digital marketing is disrupting all channels of advertising, both TV, radio. So outdoor advertising is not insulated from that. But outdoor advertising is affected because if you look at the dynamics of advertising, you try to reach the maximum number of people with a minimum amount of budget you have. So in doing that, an advertiser or a media buyer will look at where are the numbers, where is the traffic, where can I reach more people. So if the digital marketing sector is foraying into the advertising spend, outdoor advertising will lose a chunk of the revenue. And if you look at whenever situations arises, the first thing an organization will drop is the advertising budget. They want to cut it as much as possible to get the best value for it. So digital advertising is enjoying more patronage across board, but more importantly for outdoor advertising, it is eating part of the budget that should have gone into outdoor advertising. And this is because a lot of the mediums for advertising needs to provide facts. When digital advertising is selling data, is selling analytics, you're trying to measure the number of eyeballs that is seen in an advertisement. You're trying to see the number of people on a particular road. So outdoor advertising can only recover from the disruption of digital advertising when you have outdoor advertising providing facts about traffic counts, number of people on a particular stretch of road at a particular time of the day, details and data that will support media buying, that will support advertisement patronage. So digital advertising is causing a lot of disruption, but I believe outdoor advertising can rise to the occasion because outdoor advertising, for example, has a unique feature. Outdoor advertising supports commerce. It tells you the activity, the business activity going on in a particular city. Outdoor advertising supports tourism. If you go to other climes, you find advertising structures complementing the cityscape, tourists taking pictures. So it contributes to the life, to the nightlife, and it gives brand the stature it deserves. For example, if they put your picture on a Unipol billboard in the center of Marina, for example, there's a feeling you get as a person. So in this sense, outdoor advertising gives status and stamina to brands. So outdoor advertising has its unique feature. It all just needs to improve on the data sheet that will convince a media buyer to patronize that sector.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that in-depth answer there. What about elections? How does that factor into, are those, are election years very profitable for outdoor advertising for Lagos State?
Elections are nowhere near profitable. In fact,
really?
It's a cost situation for us during elections. This is because before elections, we try to engage all stakeholders about the guidelines, about how to display your campaign materials during elections. But you find a whole lot of them, most of the candidates do not educate their assistants on how to go about it, how to interface with us properly. And you find them pasting posters, banners. When the elections are over, the law requires that these materials should be removed 14 days after an election has been completed. But you find aspirants just moving on, not bothering about the look and feel and scenery of the city.
Mr.
And they leave that to LASAA. So it's a cost to LASAA to remove all these materials.
We got to wrap.
So it's a big cost.
We have to wrap up, Mr. Akande. That's Tope Akande, the Assistant General Manager at the Lagos State Signage and Advertising Agency. Thank you so much for your time and giving us the insights on how the business model works and how it's been affected by COVID-19.